Awesome.
So, welcome everybody to yet another live interview show with Become a Fearless Father. And today I have one of those true fearless father on this show, and he's gonna tell a story, and then you can make up your mind if I'm right or not. But for me, he is one definitely for sure on my list, and I'm happy he's joining us. Anton Gray, man, thank you for being on. I really appreciate it.
Before my pleasure. Happy to be here. Honored.
All right, man. Thank you. So before we go into the origin story, man, to a little bit more about who is Anton Gray, let me ask you this, because I saw you just came out with a book about mindset, about mind reset. And I must say, man, more and more everywhere you see mindset, right? But what does it mean? So can you tell us, man, what is your philosophy? And maybe even more important, what's your system in regards to mindset?
Man, that's a great question. One, hey, first, thanks for having me, man. I'm honored to be able to come on your show and talk about this. But yeah, mindset. It's funny. Someone else said that to me the other day too, because you hear the word more and more and more, right? And it is that question. What exactly is it? For me, man, to be perfectly honest, I'm a firm believer that mindset is the foundation on which success is built. And I've been, over the past couple of years, and I've been just kind of studying the successful people, right? I know a lot of people say, if you want success, study success. If you want to be happy, study happiness. And so I've just kind of started studying successful people, man, and the big names that we see each and every day, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, man, like all the big names that we look up to in whatever field it's in. They're just like you and I, man. They've got the same 24 hours, but the difference lies in their mindset. The difference lies in their approach and the way they think about things and the way they go about things. And so for me, mindset is a lot of that, right? Because a part of my mindset is just finding a way to always focus on positivity, point blank period. I feel that there's always some sort of positivity in every single situation, no matter how bad it is. It takes a little bit of time, and sometimes you got to squint a little bit to find it, right? To find the positivity in it. But that's just part of my mindset. That's part of my approach. And what I see is a lot of people, man, they focus on the negative, right? They focus on the things that they lack or the things that they aren't, or just all the bad in their life. And I think that the more you focus on whatever you focus on, man, it magnifies. And so for me, man, for the mindset piece of it, it takes a conscious effort for me to be able to focus on positivity, man. If you think about it, the news and everything that we read is it's a lot of negative in the world. You can either focus on that or focus on the positive. And so that's why I'm so big on mindset. I know for me, it's helped me tremendously. You know what I mean? And just kind of making the shift out of wherever it is that I am to where I want to be. And it's an ongoing thing. It's mindset isn't something that you get a hold of and that you perfect. Like it's an ongoing journey each and every day. And it's work. It's work. And it plays into our discipline. It plays into our habits. Plays into everything, man. So that's what it means to me.
All right, I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, when you started talking about negativity and news, I started reading Millionaire Success Habits of Dean Graziosi, and he actually said, like, you should do a challenge where 30 days you're just not checking the news, right? Because all they post is negativity, which that's what sells, right? So apparently, it's sad but true. So I appreciate you sharing that. Definitely important. So Anton, man, what's your origin story? Tell us all about you, and of course, we want to know about your family setup, so we can understand a little bit more about who's this dadpreneur Anton, and because it will link in with a couple of other questions that I have. So go ahead.
Yeah, for sure, man. My origin story, it's weird because my parents were entrepreneurs, right? My dad and my mom, they owned barbershops and beauty salons and nail shops when I was coming up. When I was about 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. And so that's what I saw, right? I saw them going to work and working for themselves. But I think because they did that and they understood the challenges that came with it, they pushed me to go the traditional route, the school route, right? Which is what I did. And so, I spent 15 years in the military. I went to college and got my degree in business and IT. And I followed that traditional route, right? But there was always a part of me, even as a young kid, that was an entrepreneur because I saw what my parents did. And to be honest, this is a funny story, man. My dad was my first boss, and he was a terrible freaking boss, man. I love my dad, but he sucked as a boss. He was a great businessman, but a terrible boss, at least to me, right? And so, like, that's what kind of sparked the entrepreneur fire in me because I'd go to work for him, and I was supposed to make X amount of dollars per day, right? And so at the end of the week, I worked however many days, and I was pretty good at math. And I tell him, all right, well, this is what you owe me. And he hit me with, hey, this is a family business, man. And you know, and tell me you live in this house and all. I'm like, damn, you suck as a boss, dude. Like, no, I work. I want my money. And so what I started doing was actually doing what the barbers hated doing from themselves, which was taking a break and going and getting their lunch. And what I found was barbers suck at math, right? So all they carried was cash. I'd go and get their sandwiches and get their lunch. I mean, the lunch be $8. They give me a $20 bill and tell them to keep the change. So that started adding up really quick. And so that was like my first thing in entrepreneurship where I saw if you're willing to do something for others or if you're willing to solve a problem that they've got, man, you can make a ton of money. And so I say that to say, you know, all through I followed the traditional route, got into the corporate world, worked my way up the ladder, but I always had a part of me that you know was an entrepreneur. So I've always had different side businesses, you know, even through my working career. But fast forward later, married my college sweetheart, man. We've now got 4 crazy little monsters. I mean, beautiful little angels, and it's great, man. And so now what I do, I've transitioned from out of the corporate world, you know, and my background is in consulting. Essentially what I do, man, I come in, they say, all right, we're here, we want to get here, on your mark, get set, go. And I have to figure a bunch of crap out. But what I realize is that now that I work with aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners, a lot of it is the same. Like a lot of businesses are right here and they want to get here and then they've got to make sense of everything in the middle. And for me, like, I love doing that. I love making sense of chaos. That's why I play with the title, man. I'm a mindset mentor and a professional dot connector. But like that's my zone of genius. And so that's what I do now. And I think it just plays into a chaotic environment at home with 4 kids, right? And rolling that into chaotic business environments and just being able to take a step back, like I said, find the positivity in it and just make sense of it. And that's what I do now. I help aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners be clear in whatever it is they want to be, and connect the dots from where they are to where they want to be and help them build profitable businesses, leveraging their experience and their skills and their knowledge and all of that, man. So it's a pretty good place to be.
Nice, man. Nice. So where you do this from, man? Is that all from home, or what's your setup? Are you always, is it all online, or do you also go visit? How does that work for you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my coaching programs are online. But I also do a ton of networking, man. I'm a sucker for a handshake. I think with the invent of social media and this thing right here, personal touch gets lost a lot. And so I do like to get out to business owners and get in these networking environments and masterminds and shake people's hand, man, and get that real thing. So it's a mix. For me, it's a mix. You know, but a lot of what I do is on the phone, it's on Zoom, and it's in my coaching programs and Facebook groups and all of that kind of thing, man.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, I was just wondering that because sometimes I feel a little cooked up. You know, sometimes it's just like, man, I feel like I'm only talking to myself here. What's going on? I might need to find something to go out, right? So, but yeah, you can't get bored with kids as well, right? So I'm just wondering, man, because you got 4 kids, you're trying to, you know, you're working as a coach. Man, how do you set that up? What's your, man, I keep falling back to secret, but what's your sauce, man, to make sure that works? Because I saw some pictures, man. Your kids look like they know how to, you know, get rowdy and enjoy themselves. And I just say that because I recognize it in my kids, right? I went live this morning, and I told the people, like, usually I go on and I go right away with like, I like to go loud, right? Because the energy that I have. And this time I went real quietly. Let's see how long it takes him to come on. And then I went, and then, and there's head number 1. So How do you do this, man? How do you make sure that you got your periods of focus and giving the time and the energy, of course, to your clients?
Yeah, man, it's that's a great question. To be honest, man, I just embrace the chaos. I embrace it. I laugh and joke and say I've got one of the best circuses on earth right now. You know what I mean? Barnum and Bailey went out of business, but hey, we were giving them a run for their money anyway. So it's just one of the things where I just embrace the madness. And I know a lot of people talk about balance and stuff, and like I'm not sure if there actually is a perfect balance, but I try to find that point to where my equilibrium is just right, to where I'm almost falling. But and the reason I say that is because, man, life comes at us fast, man. And you with being a father, sometimes you got, at the drop of a hat, you got to go and do something else. But for me, it's a bit easier now that I'm made the transition. But when at one point I was in the corporate world, doing the dad, husband, father, and then a lot of what I was doing, man, my hours were literally 10 p.m. to 3 in the morning, just to get done what I had to get done. I mean, I was restless. I was getting 3-4 hours of sleep, but it was the work and it was necessary to get to the point where I needed to be able to write the books and make the transition to start coaching people. So now I more so have traditional hours. But I still like to do, man, like, oftentimes I'm still up at 11 p.m. to 3 in the morning just knocking stuff out, because that's when my mind's clicking. So that's the beauty about entrepreneurship, is it doesn't have any hours, right? And when I start helping people make the shift from employee to entrepreneur, and this is where the mindset comes in, right? It's a totally different animal, right? Like, now that I've transitioned out of corporate America, man, I'm busier now than I was then. Right? And it's easy to get distracted because now you feel like you have more time, but it's just so much more that needs to be done. So to be honest, man, I don't think there is perfect balance. I just find the balance in the imbalance, right? And I just embrace the chaos, man. I embrace the circus, and I wouldn't have life any other way, man.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Absolutely. Now, you saying, like, that's the beauty of it. You got your own times. I would also say that it's at the same time, if you're not careful, like I notice you got the mindset, your conscience, but if you're not, then it might be a trap as well, right? Because I hear people, like, they change the 9 to 5 to all of a sudden be an entrepreneur. Now it's not a 9 to 5. Now it's like 5 a.m. to like 12 o'clock at night, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I was wondering how you got that set up, because in the end, of course, I keep saying, man, I'm a dadpreneur, but dadpreneur. So dad comes first and then preneur. But if you're it's the trap is there that you just started, man, you're just on a roll and you're focused, and then you just forget all about that first part. That's important to that.
But you know what, too? A lot of it, man, I bring my kids into the fold, and I let them see what I'm doing, right? Because usually your parents go to work, right, and the kids go to school, and then home life is home life. But I like to bring my kids into the fold. Like, my son is into video games and technology and websites, so I let him see what I'm doing, and a few summers ago, he actually started a t-shirt business. I'm trying to encourage him to get back to it, but it was good to kind of see that and spark that, because I know for me, that was one of the things. I saw my parents making their own money. I saw them with their own businesses. And so now, if I'm building funnels, or if I'm putting together programs, or even on some of the calls, I let them sit and listen in if they're willing to be quiet. My daughter she loves when I go live and if I bring her in. So I do a weekly show. I don't let her in on that, but some of the other lives I do, she loves to hop on and just kind of stare at the phone. And it's a technology age, man. They understand it. Kids are smart. They understand it. Like, they want to be. My daughter, I can hear her every now and then in her room. She's practicing to be a YouTube star, and I'm not going to stop her, right? And what I try to do is help guide her. Like, all right, well, let's get a topic. What are you going to talk about? What do you want to do? And so bringing them into the fold helps me find that balance, because now I'm spending time with my kids, and we're sharing something that we're both interested in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I definitely like that. Mine is still a little young, the 3 and 5. So the 5-year-old, and there is a language barrier. So the 5-year-old is like, he's the best in his class in English. However, not good enough yet to like join me and actually like because he will hop in, he'll say hello, but then he starts showing you stuff and he starts talking in Spanish. That's where the show is a little, but yeah, I can't wait, man, that's why I'm pushing really a lot on having him learn English as well, right?
Yeah.
So, because that's where I see the market for them as well. If you're in a country where everybody speaks Spanish or a different language, and you learn an extra language which is also spoken a lot, and sky's the limit, right?
I agree.
So let me ask you a question, man. Your kids going to school or you homeschooling?
No, they're going to school. So I've got a 10-year-old, I got a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 2-year-old, and I think she's 4 months old, 3 months old. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's definitely busy. But that's cool, man. Yeah, as I said, I can't wait till, because your daughter's 7, your boy's 10, right?
My boy's 10, yep, and the rest, the other 3 are all girls. So yep.
Oh, all girls. All right, cool. Yeah, no, because you mentioned like the girl likes to sit with you and be on the show. That's really cool. I can't wait then for my boy to be like 7, 8 and get him involved, man. I love that. Last time I was talking to somebody, he was mentioning, and you just said that. I just want to iterate on that for the people that are listening. It's like, don't force passion on them. Let them find their passion. And as soon as it's like a fire, and you just keep pouring gasoline, whatever that passion is. And that's exactly what you're doing. And
yeah, I agree.
And I just want to remind people again of that, because that is so important. You see it so many times that we try to force our kids into a certain direction, right? This is our passion. This is what we love. So our kids, you know what I mean? But in the end, they're their own person. So I really appreciate you mentioning that as well. So how do you go about planning? Because you mentioned, like, I like the chaos. I like the balance or imbalance, but you're still trying to find some sort of, where it works with the business and being a dad, right? And being a husband. So how do you set that up? How do you make sure that, you plan everything and make sure that you get everything done that must be done and that you want to have done?
That's a great question, because I'm still, that's one of my biggest challenges, right? Now, I mean, I'm dealing with it. And so I'm still trying to find my groove there to find what works best for me. I mean, some days, man, I'm knocking stuff out. Other days I look and I'm like, where the hell did the time go and what did I get done? And so my wife, she's a lot more organized than I am. And so she's kind of like, she's my task manager, so to speak. So each day I'm trying to get into a better habit of this. I do my best to, each week I try to set what I want to get done and just kind of do a quick brain dump of everything that I need to get done. And then I try to space that out and prioritize it. And I try to at least put 3 things that I know for a fact that I'm going to get done. Then everything else is a bonus after that, right? And so when I come back to it, I can say, all right, these 3 things I wrote down to get done for today, check, check, check. And you know what I mean? But it gives me a point of analysis, so to speak, to see what I'm actually getting done or where the ball is being dropped. And I try to plan 2 days out. So I'll plan, so for tonight, I'll write down my 3 tasks that I want to do for tomorrow. And I'll write 3 tasks that I want to do for the next day. And so it just kind of, rises up. So my tomorrow task become my today task. And I just, that way it allows me to see it visually. I've got a whiteboard. I'm getting a big one for my office. I've got one in my bathroom. So I've got to see it each and every day. It's working. It's working. I still can get better at it. I'm still dropping the ball in some spots, but I also don't strive for perfection either. Right. I strive for progress more than perfection.
Exactly. I like that. That's very important, man, because what I've noticed a lot is that people strive for perfection, and because they can't reach perfection, they stop doing it. Right?
Man, yeah. So, tell me about it. And I'll be honest, man. I'll be 100% transparent. That's something that I've struggled with for a long time until recently. Like and it might have been, it was a mindset thing, right? I mean, I guess coming from the corporate world to where in a world of deliverables and where you're making money for what you do, you want it to be perfect because they can dock you, you know what I mean? Or it's viewed as subpar performance. And so that creates that piece of us that always wants to be perfect. But for me, in doing that, man, I would deal with not getting anything done because I'd be so focused on getting it just right. And so I actually have a business coach as well. You know, coaches have coaches too. And, you know, I've had to really, like, the mindset again, shift my mind to the thinking that done is better than perfect, right? And I've also shifted to a screw it, let's do it type of mindset, right? Because in the corporate world, when you say screw it, just do it, you're dealing with other people's money. And if you don't give it enough thought, then it's a lot of lost dollars on the books, right? But on the entrepreneur side, it's one of those things we can jump and we can do it. And if it doesn't work, we can adjust, you know. But a lot of people are scared to take that approach, and so therefore they hold back and they analyze and overanalyze, and then they stay stuck and they do nothing. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those guys. I did a lot of it, a lot of consulting in the corporate side, to where I could come in, man, I could see things and I could make it happen because I knew what I had to do. But for myself, it took me a long time to get to the point to where I was able to do it for myself. Like even writing the books, putting together these coaching programs, and starting to hop on the calls with people. Man, I played the sideline for a long time. And like I said, it was really one of those things to where once I started shifting my mindset and my thinking towards certain things, that's when the needle started to move.
Yeah, it's curious how that works, how we can figure it out for others, right? And just really like spot on and just see him go shoot off. And then for ourselves, it's just like, you know, it's hard to get set up. So I know where you're coming from, man. So let me ask you, I got two questions in regards to coaching, man. One, I'm so glad you mentioned that, you know, you are a coach, but you also have a coach. I see so many times people trying to make it work, and it's good, man. I gotta say, hats off, man. If you're working out there, you're grinding, great, man, hats off. But why not get a coach? I mean, it will help you move so much faster. And the day that I started getting my coach, wow, it just popped off, right? So I'm just wondering, man, let's start with that. What's your philosophy in regards to why somebody must have, or why should somebody absolutely get a coach?
Man, I know for me, I'm gonna speak from my personal experience. It was major for me, right? It's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame, right? Because it's a lot of moving pieces and it's a lot that you don't know, right? And unfortunately, you know, we as humans, our brains are set up to protect us, right? And so that's where fear comes from, the unknown, right? And a lot of it is unknown. We want to get to another place in life where we've never been, so we don't know exactly what it looks like, but we've just got this idea of it, right? And the odd thing is there's a lot of people at that level, or they are where you want to be, and they know what it looks like, right? But when we get so caught up in the unknown, we fear the unknown. Like, people don't want to say that, but we do. We fear the unknown. And so that's why a lot of people play small and they hold back from what they really can do. For me, you know, my coach just kind of helped me identify my superpower and how I can better help people and how I can better serve people. And he helped me make sense of a lot of my talents, right? And not only that, helped me to focus. And so this is what I compare coaching to, right? It's like being at the starting line of a minefield, right? Just full of a bunch of different landmines, right? Coaches are usually on the other side, right? And they've traveled that same minefield so many times to the point where they usually have some sort of map, or they can they've at least had some experience to say, oh yeah, don't walk over there. It's a ton of landmines over there. Don't, you know what I mean? And that can save so much time. So often we go through just blindfolded with our fingers crossed, tiptoeing, right? And to some, that's a great method. It might work, it might not. You know what I mean? And I think that the landmines going off, it's part of the process, it's part of the experience, it's part of learning. But if there's a way to get from this part of this side of the landmine all the way to the other and get less blown up, right? And if there's a map, then I want part of that map, right? Or at least a little bit of guidance to say, okay, yeah, you're stepping in the right direction. Or even if you're blindfolded, right? You're getting, remember the game Warmer and Colder, right? It's about that communication. That's what a coach helps you do, right? So you don't travel that same path and make they've made a ton of mistakes. They've learned from them, and now they've got the knowledge to guide you. I know for me, man, it's moved mountains. So, that's why I will always recommend people to get coaches.
Absolutely. Wow, man, that were two great analogies. I started thinking immediately like you being Marco and the other guy is Polo, right? Marco and the other guy stand there, Polo, and then you know exactly how to get there. Awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. So on the other end, man, because there's a lot of starting entrepreneurs out there as well that are trying to be a coach for somebody else, right? We've always learned you're always at a point where somebody else knows less than you that you can coach, right? So what was your beginning strategy to start off and get get the ball rolling, get your first clients in, and get the ball rolling, right? Because that's, I think, the most important thing. That's where I struggled at the beginning a little bit. And I'm wondering what your strategy was to get that started.
I struggled a lot. You want to know where I started, man? I started on I started with courses, right? I stayed in that learning process, right? Because I think that's the starting point for a lot of people. We want to do something, but then we focus, like I said, it's a mindset thing. We focus on the things that we lack. All right. So what we do is pursue the knowledge of the things that we think we need to know. And so I was a course junkie. Like I've got, man, I don't know how much I spent on courses, man. Like, and some were good, some were complete crap. Some I finished, some I didn't. But what I learned was that with each course, there was always something else. Like, oh, nice, I know this, but what about this? And now I know this, but what about this? And I stayed in that learning phase, man. And it wasn't until, like I said, I had that mindset shift where it was just screw it, just do it. And for me, I would have stayed in that learning thing until I got a coach. And we sat down and just kind of, he said, all right, well, what do you want to do? And help me paint that vision. And what are you good at? And then just putting the pieces together. It's like one big puzzle piece, man. And it's like 1,000-piece puzzle you dump on the table, right? But without that box to see what that end picture is supposed to look like, it's hard, right? To start putting the things together, you can do your best. But for me, that's what helped when I got a coach and really started to focus on, one, what did I wanted to do, so I can make sure that, I think if you do what you love and something that really inspires and motivates you, then you can avoid burnout. But then two, really understanding where my strengths lie and where I could actually offer that to people and help people. Because that's what my coach helped me realize, that my strength was starting. And my wife, I mean, she'll attest to this. I'm great at starting. I'm great at getting ideas out, getting it strategy and starting, but I get bored quick, right? And so oftentimes I don't finish. But a lot of people have a struggle in just getting started.
Yep.
Right. And so that's kind of where I come in. And like I said, my coach helped me identify that as my zone of genius. I might not be the best finisher, but when it comes to getting started and making sense of a bunch of crap and everything that's going on, I'm great at chaos, I guess. With 4 kids, I'm just great at taking chaos, making sense of it, making it understandable, and maneuvering through it to get to the other side, And so that's what helped me. And I think anybody that wants to be a coach, everybody's got something that they know that they can offer people, right? But it's one, having the belief in their knowledge and the confidence in it, and then understanding who actually can benefit from that knowledge to be able to offer it to them. So, man, it's a great field to get in. I think anybody can get in it, but whether they're actually going to be good at it or whether they actually want to do it, right? Because a lot of people see the money. For me, it's not about the money. Like I really, really enjoy helping people. If I can help somebody have a clarity moment and get past themselves and start to see their vision a bit clearer, like that's a win for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I checked out your Facebook and I saw that. Testimonial. Let's call it testimonial. But I saw that person writing like, "Wow, it was amazing." Anton just took the time out of his busy schedule to talk to me, and he actually just helped me without him even having to do that. So that says a lot about who you are and then what what you're here to do. So that mentioned, right? You mentioned like, okay, you got to start, and that's the most important thing. But what was your approach to make sure that you got your first clients that you were able to coach? Like I hear a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, what we did was I just started talking to everybody, and I gave them 2 weeks free to get to know me, or whatever it is, right? There's different strategies. I'm just wondering if you want to share, of course, but what was your strategy to make sure that you got clients, or that you still get clients to start off with? Because I always had the feeling that, once you got a name, right? Once you've done that first part where you've done it well and you're getting a name, then it's, I'm not going to say easy, but easier, right? But it's that beginning. Nobody knows you yet. You're trying to get out with your name. You're trying to get people to know you. How do you make sure that happened for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Great point. Yeah, I mean, it's because of this internet thing, man. Everybody can do it, right? Like I just said, anybody can do it. So it is that know, like, and trust factor that has to be there for any coach, to have any bit of success. So for me, I took that route. I mean, I coach a lot of people for free, right? And I still do my best to try to give as much as I can. But I took on a lot of my first clients absolutely free, because one, it's like that test phase, right? It was helpful for both of us. They're getting free coaching, and for me, I'm getting validation off of what I'm doing too. You know what I mean? But I took on some free clients, helped them get clear in whatever it is that they want to do, and help them expand not just their vision, but their businesses as well. And just continue to inspire people, man. I started taking free speaking gigs and getting the information out there. But I was willing to work for free, essentially, right? Because it's not necessarily free. It's free in the sense that you're not getting paid, but the experience and the learning that you're getting from it, as well as the exposure, pays on the back end, right? So we're so used to going to work, putting in an hour, and getting $1 out. But in entrepreneurship, sometimes it works in reverse, man. And this is from what I learned and from a lot of the people that I studied that were successful, man. They did a lot of stuff, not necessarily for free, but at the early point, they were making way less money than they are now, right? Because they were just willing to put in the grind, put in the work, and it pays dividends in the back end. And so even still, man, I'm still working to get to where I actually want to be, right? And it's all a process. And so, if it's here, I'm still not here yet. And I don't think, to be honest, I don't think any of the successful people are where they, like, I don't think it gets capped. Right? I think that's a mindset thing too. Like let's talk about Grant Cardone, man. When he gets a big sale, he's like, boom, let's celebrate. But what's next? Let's go get something else. You know what I mean? And so, it's all part of the process. I'm still working to get to where I want to be, man, and to have X amount of clients, but I'm still willing to also to keep in mind why I got started, right? And my main mission really is to help people. The money comes with it, but the impact is what I'm chasing. I think the more impact that I'm able to make, the more money I'll make in the back end. Zig Ziglar says it all. Zig Ziglar, I love Zig Ziglar. He says, you help enough people get what they want, you in turn get what you want. And so that's the phase that I'm in, man.
Nice. I like that, man. I really appreciate you sharing that. So you mentioned, like, you're not there where you want to be. How do you think about that, right? Do you have a vision of what is it that at this point you're aiming for? How does that look like for you?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely do, man. I've got different stages of what it looks like, right? And for me, like, my point now, this was one of my stages, which was to transition out of the corporate world and into my own business, right? And so that was just kind of like a ring on a ladder to where what's the next step? But yeah, I've got a grand vision of what I want to be doing. And the amount of speaking gigs that I do on a monthly basis and on a yearly basis, the amount of books that I want to write by a certain year, like, I've got all of that written out, man. Like, it's the vision for me is clear as day, right? It's just a step sometime in between that's a bit vague, but that vision, at least for right now, like I said, when I hit it, I'm sure it's going to change, and it's going to be more where I'm just like, okay, well, what's next? But yeah, I've got it all written down. I encourage and implore anybody to do that, man. I think that's one of the very first stages. That's what I talk about in my book, is deciding what it is. I don't think we do that, at least in a clear sense, right? I think we focus on the things that we don't want, but we never really set a clear vision as to what we want our lives to look like a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. you know. So yeah, write it down and get clear in it.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. I always say that's the reason why we have zombie dads, is because, you know, if we don't have a vision and then just walk through life. I think that's why movies like Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead are so so popular, is because that kind of looks like me. Anyway, man, I saw you pointing. You got a book right there? You got it laid next to you by any chance?
Yeah, it's on my desk. Yeah, I do.
There you go.
The light is, yeah, mind reset. It's a 10-day mind. It's a 10-day mind reset challenge, but just goes through, you know, getting clear in whatever it is that you want to be getting out of life, and helping you identify some of the things that may be blocking you to get to that, and help you get on the path. I call it to your greatness, right? Whatever you define your greatness as, you know, it's things that come along with it. And I think it's the small tweaks that really, for me, like I said, it was a small mindset shift, right? From the perfection to the done, and the screw would just do it. And that's just kind of at least open the doors and get that needle moving in the right direction to start building momentum. Because what that does is build the habits that you need to keep going and to, you know what I mean? And even just dealing with challenges, all right? There's a certain level of thinking that comes with that. Like for me, I don't, this is probably it's probably kind of cocky, but it's funny at the same time. I say I don't fail anymore. I just successfully learn what doesn't work, right? And I probably saw that somewhere, but it's true. Like for me, it's just like, let's do it. If it doesn't work, cool. I can get a lesson up out of it. I can kind of elevate my thinking towards it, change my approach, and go right back at it. And it's just a method. It's part of my coaching program, man. It's a method that I use called life, right? Learning, implementing, failing, because a lot of people are scared as hell to fail, right? And then I say fail fast and fail forward, man. Evaluate what just happened and go right back at it. It's like a cycle. And that's one thing that I do, man. So yeah, it's part of that in the book, and yeah, I hope people can benefit from it, man.
Absolutely. Well, I bet they can, because if anything that you share with us so far is in that book, then, you know, they're definitely going to learn from that. So I like what you mentioned in regards to failure. I always keep reminding myself, I either win or I learn. There's no losing in this whole game. So, man, I got to ask, because I hear a lot of the things that you're sharing, they sound a lot like motivational speeches that I listen to on YouTube every time. One of the questions I want to ask you, man, what's your favorite way of making sure that every day your mindset is like on point, that you're positive, that you're motivated, that you're energetic and ready to go?
Like you said, YouTube, man. I've got a collection. I've got a collection of motivational speakers that I listen to each and every day, man. Each and every day, I start my day with at least 20 minutes of just something positive, right? And I've got my favorites that I listen to, like Jim Rohn is one of my favorites. Les Brown is my, and you probably hear it in a lot of my speaking, right? Because I put it in every single day. And so, you know, that's how I get started. And then I find some other ones as well, but I'll listen to the same ones just over and over, like ones that really resonate with me and that I can identify with and kind of like see myself in their speaking, right? Because I think that's why motivational speakers are so powerful, because when they speak, right, and this happens in church and you know, whatever, if people have religious belief, when someone of motivation or inspiration, when they speak, it hits you and you feel it because you see yourself in it, right? They talk about getting started, or they talk about, you know, changing your mindset, or they talk about dealing with challenges and obstacles. You see yourself like, damn, they're talking to me, right? And that's what makes it so powerful, because they speak as general as motivation and inspiration is, it still hits specifically to that person and can get them moving past where they are, man. So yeah, I know for me, it's helped me big time, right? Because like I said, I listen to Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn, and a lot of what they talk about is contribution. They talk about serving people, you know, and to be honest, man, a lot of, regardless of the motivational speaker, everybody's saying the same exact thing, right? And they say it in a different way. And a lot of it, man, it's it's comes from whichever holy book they listen to. A lot of the motivational stuff, man, are really just stories of the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody takes and they put a twist on, or they, it's a lesson learned. But Think and Grow Rich, man, a lot of these successful people now, they're just preaching the same topic. So a lot of the stuff is the same thing through decades, right? But it just gets recycled, and that's because it's real, it's genuine, it's true, and it just is what it is. And that's why, like I said, you hear mindset all the time, and you're always going to hear mindset because it's something that has to be preached to us, and it's something that's a constant work in progress, and it doesn't click. Like somebody might hear this and they're gonna go right back to what they're doing. Right? They're not even gonna give mindset a thought. But 5-10 years from now, when they're really ready to make a change, then they're gonna hear mindset more and they're gonna pay attention to it a lot more. And then they're gonna focus on it. And then that's when it's gonna click, and then that's when they're gonna have their breakthrough.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny how that works. And then all of a sudden you hear it everywhere. It's like you never thought about it. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, right? Paul Ace, right? From the bot messenger, and the same thing. I never heard, or I wasn't really focused on bot messengers or anything like that. And then I talked to him thanks to another friend of ours, Galen, that we have in common. And all of a sudden, it's like you see bot messengers everywhere. It's like, how is this possible? Like, it's not. I'm not doing anything different. It's now all of a sudden it's popping up. So it's curious how that works, man. So I'm gonna check real quick because I don't. All right, we still got 18 minutes, but I also want to talk, of course, a little bit about fatherhood, stuff like that. I mean, I love talking about entrepreneurship, and I noticed that you do as well, but we have other passions as well, and that is our kids, man. What does fatherhood mean to you, man? What makes, let's start with that. What does it mean for you?
Man, fatherhood is everything, man. It's the whole reason I exist, man. It really is. I think when the birth of my son 10 years ago just really started giving me a different perspective on life, right? I mean, in my younger days, in the corporate days, man, I was just about the check. I was about the money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, who's gonna pay me more? What more can I do? How many extra hours can I work? When you have kids, man, it just changes everything. So my kids are everything to me, man. They give me life and they stress me out and take a little bit away, but I wouldn't have it any other way, man. So my fatherhood is everything. It's everything. It's the best blessing I've ever been given, man.
Nice, I like that. So did it change for you right from the bat? Like, were you a complete engaged father? And the reason why I ask is I wasn't, right? Like for me, it was, I needed a little adjustment period until I finally realized, like, okay, this 9 to 5 is not helping me be the father that I want to be, right? Because I was the typical father where, even before your kid wakes up, you're off to work, and around the time that he has to go to bed, you're back, right?
Right.
Making sure that, making ends meet, which wasn't the path that I was happy with. But I'm just wondering, for you, man, how did that work out? Were you immediately like, that's it? Or how did that feel for you for being a father?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. No, I think for me, man, I've always wanted to experience being a father. I mean, I know it sounds weird, but even in my younger days, like part of my vision, I've always kind of been a goal-oriented person. Part of my vision was to have have the wife, have a bunch of kids, and like that was the life I envisioned for myself. And luckily, I hit it. But yeah, for me, man, when my son was here, it didn't change right away, but it definitely played into it a lot. Like I was in the military at the time, right, and part of it. I had actually considered doing a full 20 years to get the retirement and all of that. But when my son got older and started playing sports and started where the hell's that going? Right. And that had a major effect on me. Like I stopped caring about what I thought I cared about. Right. And all of that. And I started really, I think it really gave me a concept of time. Right. Because kids grow so fast and they develop so fast. And it can be 1 weekend, 2 weeks away. Like you literally, I used to go away for two weeks to a month's time sometimes more for training. And I come back and I'm just like, that's not the same kid. Like, what the hell just happened? But you start to realize how fast time goes, right? And you start to cherish it a lot more. For me, that's when it clicked, man. Like I started, my priorities and my values completely changed. And now I value time more than anything, you know, and time with them. And so that was one of the reasons I got out of the military. That was one of the reasons I wanted to get out of the corporate world. I used to do the early shift and not see my kids wake up. Like it's something about being able to eat breakfast with my kids that I love, right? Or being able to just have that time freedom. If I want to go eat lunch and eat that nasty school lunch with my kids, like it sucks that you know, eating that lunch, but it's something that is a memory that'll last forever. I remember when my dad used to come eat lunch with me. It wasn't too often because he was always working, but when he did, those few times, you know, I think I was in second and third grade. I still kind of remember them like almost like it was yesterday, like certain parts of it. And so thinking back to that and getting to where I am now, man, it's huge. I think being in your kid's life is it's huge. If I could spend every minute of the day, although the kids need a break from me and I need a break from the kids, but man, at the end of the day, when I got to answer to my maker, man, I'll never say that I spent too much time with my kids. That's kind of how I look at it.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So that's it, man, because I want to ask as well, how long you been married?
I've been married since 07, so what's that, going on 12 years? Yeah, going on 12 years. My college sweetheart.
That's what you mentioned. So
yeah.
I'm just wondering, man, what good, I haven't heard it that many times, as in, look, college sweetheart, we still married. So happily married. I mean, I'm assuming so because I saw a picture on Facebook and you two looked really happy on that birthday picture. And I was like, man, that's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
What's the secret, man? What made it click and work for you for all these 12 years and for all the years to come?
That's a good question. I don't know if there is a secret, man. I think that, you know, I value relationship, right? Like that. She was my best friend. She's always had my back and everything, like, and, you know, and all the fun that we had in college, but she's always had my back. And you know, she's the love of my life. I wouldn't have it any other way, but I don't know if there's really a secret to it. I just think, once again, it's that perfectionism thing, right? A lot of people think that it's supposed to be picture perfect. Marriage isn't picture perfect. Like, we have fun. My kids, my wife, she has 5 kids because I'm the 5th. I'm the big kid. She's got to check me out. And I'm running around like, no, the kids got to do this. You know what I mean? We find that balance of her switching to the disciplinary. Sometimes it's me. But it's just one of those things, man. It's not perfect. It's always going to be work. You know, you're going to have your ups. You're going to have your downs. The goal is just to have way more ups than downs. And we find a balance, man. I think my wife over the years has learned to kind of tune me out when she wants to. And so, like I said, I'm like that 5th kid in the background yelling and screaming, mom, 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 mom. And I don't know how she does it, man. Somebody needs to pray for my wife. It must be a lot of people praying for my wife. She's got to deal with me. But I don't think it is a secret, man. Just cherishing relationship, understanding that it's work. I think so many people are so quick to quit, right? Because it's not perfect or it isn't. I don't know. I never really got that. I told myself I'm getting married one time, man. That's it. If she leaves me, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I hear you, man. So it's persistence, right? Which you just mentioned, because I'm asking, man, and I call it secret. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, of course. But being married for 12 years and up, or maybe we can even say, I don't know. I would like to find out. Maybe I should find out what the average is now. But it feels like it's 2 years, right? We're married for 2 years, and then we all just throw the towel in the ring, and then we'll try again with somebody else. And I like what you mentioned, like it's persistence. It's just saying before, and I said the same thing, man. That's why I like when you said that. Just, I'm going to marry once, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right? And that just from the bat gives a commitment, saying like, look, that's it, man. And then if there's a hard time, because that's what it is, right? You're gonna hit those hard times. However, I am committed because I'm only getting married once, so I'm committed. So you must work it out one way or another, because if not, you can't stick to that commitment, right?
And to be honest, man, I've been incredibly lucky. Like, I mean, I hear other stories about, you know, struggles in marriage. Like, we've had way more ups and downs. There's not many times where we get to that down part, and I'm not sure what it is. Maybe we just gel that much, or maybe she just ignores me most of the time, and I don't know how it works, man. But it's one of those things, man, where I've been lucky, and I think too, like I said, I've always been somewhat of a goal-oriented person. It's part of my vision. When I walk through the mall or something, man, I see a couple that's like 80 years old holding hands, walking like that's inspiring, man. Like I'm like, yo, we're gonna do that. You know what I mean? And it just, I don't know. That's what keeps me going, man. Keeps me going. I can't wait to be that old couple laughing at the stupid stuff our kids have done, and you know, going to see a matinee movie and getting senior discounts together. Like that's part of the vision. You know what I mean?
I like that. And it sounds, I always pick up on that from people that have like a red line. That sounds like it comes back again from like you're always trying to find the positivity in everything, right?
Yeah.
So I like that, man. Let me check to see if we still got, oh man, you're giving so much and we still got time. Nice, I like that. So let me ask you, man, because I keep hearing like, yeah, you know, to make a relationship work, you must have date nights, you must be alone with your wife, you know, et cetera, et cetera. What's your thought on that? And what do you do to make sure that you get your alone time, or you get, you know, set up some special dates or whatever with your wife?
we we don't get too many of those, man. We got 4 kids now. Like our parents are like, I think our parents are screening our calls sometimes. They're like, oh man, they got too many. They got when we had one and two, it was a bit easier to get away. Now they're like, man, y'all got 4. Like, wait a second, how does this work? You know, so we do our best. I mean, our parents are incredibly supportive. You know, so I try to at least once or twice we get out and maybe do our own thing. But we do a lot of family nights. But I mean, even date night for us, it's the little things. Like we'll sit on the couch and try to have a glass of wine and eat some popcorn. And next thing you know, we're just so damn tired. We're 10 minutes into the movie, we're both asleep, and you know, it's only 9:30. So like that's a hell of a date night for us. But it's you know, we find times when we can. And like I said, now that I've transitioned, I try to do a lot more and just have random pop-up lunches and things like that. I mean, it's I think it's incredibly important, right? Because kids add a level of complexity to it, right? You lose a lot of yourself in your kid, especially my wife. I mean, moms are freaking superheroes. I don't know how they do it, because my kids, they'll walk past me and say, "Hey, where's mom?" I'm like, "Well, good morning. Where's mom?" "Well, good morning." "All right, good morning, dad. Where's mom?" You know what I mean? And so she got it way rougher than I am. So finding those times and those little moments, it that becomes a challenge. But it's also, you know, when you're in those moments, appreciating those and living in those. Like I said, me and my wife will sit together on the couch, and that'll be enough. Every now and then we'll you know, get crazy and go to a movie and venture outside the house. But a lot of it, man, Friday nights or family nights in the basement where we'll do board games and all of that. But when the kids go to bed, then we might try to, you know, have some adult time and talk about some adult stuff, and not what happened in school and when are we signing the kids up for camp and, you know, things like that. So it's a challenge, but it's part of the work. You know, it's part of the work to be done. Like I said, I embrace it and I love it, and I think that's what helps me remain positive about it and not get caught up in all of that, because it's something that I wished for and hoped for and prayed for. Now that I got it, you know, I cherish it.
Exactly. Wow, man, you dropped some important things, like the little things. We so often forget about the little things, right? We always try to think of really big, and then we don't do it because we come up with a lot of excuses. However, the little things sometimes are even more important. So, you know, sitting on the couch eating some popcorn together is just, especially with 4 kids, I can imagine this can be a blessing, right? I always laugh because, yeah, you're absolutely right, man. How do they do it? I started to laugh when you say that, because our kids finally, they slept with us in the bed for a while, right? And now they have their own bed and their own room. But in the middle of the night, they still come join us in the bed. However, I still, man, for some reason, I still got the whole bed for myself. And then all of them are just laying in the corner on top of mommy. And I'm just like, man, how does she get up in the morning again? And then she's all there. You know what? I actually got the pleasure of having Rachel Peterson on my live show pretty soon. So I see her as a fearless mother. So maybe we should ask her as well how she does all that stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to hear from a female's perspective outside of, you know, our own close loved ones. Man, I gotta ask because all right, I still got time for a question, man. You're a reader, you're a learner. You mentioned you did a lot of courses. I always ask people, what do you read? But you just mentioned you did a lot of courses. And you mentioned, like, I did some bad ones, but you also had some good ones. For a dadpreneur that's starting out, right? What would be some of the course? What would be like one, maybe two courses that you would definitely suggest? Maybe your own course. You can promote that too. That's fine. That's fine as well. I'm cool with that.
Of course, my course. No, it's I don't know, man. That's a good question.
Nope. You went on mute.
I had a cool thing. My apologies.
That's
no, that's a good question. I think yeah, my course, of course. No, I think it really just depends on what you're looking to do. And for me, that's probably one of the reasons I bought so many different courses, because I was like, well, what am I going to do? Maybe it's going to be Facebook ads. Maybe it's going to be this. Maybe it's going to be that. And like I said, every time I got through a course, I say, well, I want to learn this too, and I want to learn that too. So I think it really just comes down to what you want to do, right? And nailing that down. What do you want to provide? What do you want to offer? Because I mean, even as I was going through the courses, you learn, all right, I'm not even sure if I really want to do this. Like, it's cool to learn it, but I'm not sure if I want to do this. Because for me, I had to step back and say, you can see I'm more of a big vision, big picture type of person, right? So I don't mind getting in the weeds when I need to, right? And I think I learned a lot to understand it, but not necessarily to do it, right? Because even in my business now, I know there are certain parts of it that are absolutely necessary. But for me, if I don't really have the bandwidth to sit and put hours into learning it, and if that learning curve is too steep, I'll pay somebody to do it, right? And so I continue operating in what I like to do, which is the idea phase, which is the start phase, which is the strategy phase, right? And there's not many courses on that, on the strategy of it. I've taken some that talk about, the strategy of creating an agency. Let's just use that, or creating an ads agency or something like that, right? And I look at it from an overall standpoint, so I know the processes, because I know that's what I like to do. So if I have a student that comes to me and says, I want to do this, I want to do a Facebook ad agency or something like that, I have the knowledge to be able to guide them, but to be able to actually, sit and work for them and do it, probably not. I can point them in the direction. And I think, like I said, that's from a consulting background too, so where I had to know a lot about a little, right? I never really had to dive deep into something, because for me, and my position was to really just come in, understand all of the moving pieces, how do they play together, and creating a strategy. And so a lot of what I would do is, once we find the pieces and create the strategy, then I'd have to go and get the people that had the in-depth knowledge for that particular thing. Right? And I think as entrepreneurs, man, we get so caught up in it. Like I said, we get in that we don't know this phase, and then we try to dive 10 feet deep. But if that 10 feet deep isn't part of like your core offering, or your core, your core messaging, or your core, I guess let's just call it your core genius, right, of what you want to be doing, then why even deal with it? Because then you're wasting time. So like I said, I think really just getting clear on whatever it is that you want to do, and it's going to be hard. Like, you've got to try a few things. I've tried and failed a lot. Or I've tried and learned what I don't want to do many of them, right? And so it's going to take. So get an idea of what it is that you want. Find a course, man. There are a ton of great courses. Everybody's got a course nowadays, and you just kind of you gotta take the jump. You can't be scared to spend money and invest in yourself. You're going to buy some bad courses, right? Or you get some courses that aren't to your expectation. But hey, chalk it up to money spent and investment made that you learn from. Right? Just like anybody invest in stock, you're going to choose some bad stocks. It is what it is. It's part of the game. And I think education is the same way. You never know when it's going to be a home run. You never, you know what I mean? So I think just getting clear on what you want to do, getting the hell up out of your way, and not being afraid to invest in yourself, because it's through that investment. Yeah, you're going to lose some money, probably going to lose a little bit of time, but the knowledge that you gain from it will help you get clearer and clearer and clearer in your mission. And then when you had that breakthrough, man, it's going to be that much sweeter.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great. What I really liked, and I actually just read about that, is that so many of us were focused on what we're not good at or we don't like to do to improve that. However, you mentioned something very important. No. You focus on improving your passion, what you're passionate about, what your strengths are. And what I don't like to do, I'll give the money to somebody else so they do it. And that way you're way more productive. So I really, that's perfect to come to an end. However, last thing, man, how can people get in contact with you? How can they follow you? I saw a couple of Facebook pages that I definitely would love to share on people that are going to watch the recording or listen to the recording. Plus, where can people get your book?
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure, man. Listen, people can follow me. They can find me on Facebook at Anton Gray. My personal page or my business page. Friend request me, reach out, send me a message. I'm all up for that. Instagram is im.agray. And they can also check out antongray.com, schedule a strategy session. Man, I love to just hop on the phone and help people get clear. I love to serve people. So wherever I can help, I'm going to help. And then the book, they actually get the book for free if they, just cover a little bit of the shipping at mindresetbook.com. But all they gotta do is head over, enter their email address and their shipping details. I'm gonna say cover a little bit of the shipping, and I'll send that out to them for free.
Awesome, man. I love that. Look at that. All about impact and helping others, man. Anton, thanks, man. I really enjoyed it. An hour flew by, and man, my paper's full. So I really appreciate that. So thanks a lot. Again, everybody for that has joined us, listened to this for an hour. I appreciate you. I always enjoy people, spending their time and trying to learn. I hope this was valuable again. And let's go for the next one, I would say.
Let's do it. Hey, Klaas, man, I appreciate you having me on, man. It was an honor and a pleasure to be here and to be able to sit and chat with you for a while, man. This was great.
I appreciate it, man. All righty, that's the end. We'll see each other very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Are you still meeting up with your friends now that you're a father? Kids making you stress out. You got no time for yourself to work out, read, or relax. Can you still remember the time you were hanging out with your friends, feeling energetic, happy, and confident? Spending time together and talking about your life and your crazy dreams. You're feeling alone now, don't you? No one to share your challenges with, and you're just running around from one storm into the next. Well, it's time to change this now. Join me and the Brotherhood of Fearless Fathers to speak on a weekly basis with like-minded dads to crush your challenges, face your fears with determination, be held accountable, and regain control of your life. If you want to become the hero your family needs you to be, then go to becomeafearlessfather.com/brotherhood. Looking forward to seeing you on one of our next calls.